You're listening to the Mind of a Boyfriend podcast.
Finally. The weather for babies. Just yesterday I was thinking, who would be having sex in this heat? Because why would you do that to yourself? But then, it is what it is. So, we've been doing this for quite some time. Guessing this is like the 6th or 7th episode. And we've been on talking phases, yeah? Getting to know each other, asking you guys what you like and you responding and me trying to make the same content you like. A little talking phase, yeah? Skipping all the questions about what I bring to the table. I bring this. I bring fun. I bring entertainment and questionable taste in your relationships, of course. So today, we're just going to be talking about Lobola, something that most of us really want, but don't really want because it's new to us, right? It's been there, but it's new to us. And it feels like a lot has changed because it's not just about making families. It's about money now. It's about prestige. It's about the Rora squad of the girls that are probably going to want your man or they have slept with your man. Things like that. So that's the topic that we're on today. So before I get to that, a big shout out to everyone who's been listening to The Mind of a Boyfriend and each and every person who's made this possible. Thank you. You guys are rock stars. Well, some of you. So let's just get right to the Lobola thing. What is Lobola? For those listening outside Zimbabwe and SADC and living under rocks, Lobola is a tradition where a guy brings something to the girl's family. It used to be cows, and it sucks because bringing cows to get one back. It's not an equivalent exchange. But anyways, that was the premise of it when it started. Cows were a symbol of wealth, prestige. So the more the cows, the wealthier the family, right? It was done in exchange because you're getting someone new in your family to give birth to your kids to make your clan stronger. Right? So Lobola essentially was for the kids. But now, in this modern generation, Lobola is something else. Just recently, I saw this pastor from H-Town. Well, it's not a pastor. This religious leader who had a 30K wedding, and his Lobola was 15K and 20 cows. Now, I understand he has all that, right? Which is beautiful. It's okay. But then it got me thinking, over the past few years, Lobola has been about showing off, right? People publicize this on social media and they get clout. Mostly H-Town people anyways. But it has shifted from Lobola being just about building families. Now it's about showing off. That's why the Roro squad, can't even say Lobola squad because that doesn't exist in the Nguni cultures, right? You have these people coming in, dressing up, taking selfies with their Brazilians from questionable places, all for the vibe, all for the energy, just for social media, right? So which gets me thinking, is Lobola really relevant? Which is the gist of this episode today. Is it really relevant? What is its significance now? Back in the day, it made sense because you were bringing someone new to your family, and they were virgins half the time, I think. But now, you're paying 20K for someone who has the body count of an ex-Marine who fought in the Zipro War. And man, I don't know. Maybe we're going back to the basics. Maybe it's not about the virginity or the purity of the person, right? Maybe it's about building families. Right? Like it should be. But then again, if it's about building families, some families are now using it as a way of getting rich. I have seen lists that have alcohol in them, stuff enough to open a spaza, stuff enough to open dollar deals, man. Like you could start shipping alcohol based on the Lobola. Then it gets you thinking, is giving birth to guys really a thing? Because if I get like 4 girls, man, that is a mention, that is TM, and I'll start money laundering. through Lobola. But then maybe that's just the negative side of all these things, right? There's someone from the group, the Mind of a Boyfriend group, who said Lobola is about showing the ability to provide, right? So I'm guessing if a guy can pay Lobola, he can provide, right? But then it also gets me wondering, you don't just make Lobola in one sitting, right? You save up for it. So you take a couple of months accumulating that wealth. Does it show you that you can provide or you can save? I mean, it's just food for thought. Then, of course, I believe Lobola now is about ego, right? Because most people are chasing weddings. Most people are chasing Lobola, but they're not really chasing the marriage aspect of it. It's for optics, right? I can get this, I can splash this, I can call these people to my Lobola, I can have the service deliverer, I can have the best possible item, and then I'll have my ego boosted. But am I really ready for marriage? Am I really marriage material? Which is something for another day, because this generation, we're making bar ranges. We're not making marriage material, because, hey, it takes a lot. And then maybe from the side of guys or the side of parents have become investors through Lobola. It's all about the ROI, the return on investment. So when they're charging, they'll tell you our daughter is educated. She's a doctor. We took care of her. We've done all those things. Well, you're supposed to. If you didn't do that, child services was going to come for you, right? So how are you making that a thing? It was a basic right to go to school. So how are you putting that on Lobola and making it seem like you've been fattening the cow so that you take it to the slaughter and get the best possible deal? Because the moment you do that, you're equating your daughters to commodities, salt, stuff like that, right? So the moment you treat them like that, you open your daughters to a whole plateau of abuse, because the person who's getting this daughter, the person who's marrying this daughter, isn't just marrying them anymore. They're now buying them. And the moment you buy something, it's yours, right? And if it's mine, I can use it however I want. I can buy a knife and use it as a spoon. What are you going to do about it? So the moment you sell your daughter to me, and I don't use her as a wife, I use her as a punching bag, it's my property now, right? So maybe the problem is treating these women as commodities. Bringing these things up like, hey, I took her to school. Well, the person who's also marrying this person also had parents, right? And these things are just basic rights that are afforded to any child, be it girl or boy, right? And then it also gets me thinking, how does it work in other cultures, right? Because if you're saying your daughter is all these things, what if the person marrying her has more qualifications? Should you guys pay the parents back? Should you guys give a discount? And then again, speaking of discounts, I realize that Lobola has a lot of things. It has a spectrum, right? Because we've talked about girls being virgins, being educated. What about baby mamas? How's the Lobola for them? Because I've always wondered. And then I thought, if divorced women can get Lobola'd, right? If widows can get Lobola'd, obviously there are parameters that are there for baby mamas, right? Because in any case, Lobola is about the children, right? She already has a child. So assuming she was Lobola'd or paid damages from the other side, so that child doesn't really count. But then when it comes this side, let's say if the Lobola was supposed to be 5K, some of that sum is taken out because she's bringing a child from a different clan, right? And we're paying for the kids she's going to make when she comes into our clan. So maybe the provisions are there. And then it gets me thinking again, polygamy. How do those guys do it, man? Because Lobola has become expensive. But hey, it's fine. Some people don't have to Lobola because they're married and have side chicks who they give money and iPhones. So that's enough Lobola for them. So for now, I'll just read through some of the things and thoughts that I got from the groups pertaining this whole item. Because the question was, what do you guys think about Lobola? So Dave says, just like everything else, cultural or religious, it's okay if done for the right reasons. And they also question, like, what are the right reasons? Because I've realized most people right now are doing this because they've reached the time for marriage. You feel like you're old enough? Let's do it. And you feel like, hey, this guy has been longing to be my husband. let me just say yes, even if he's the side guy and he's not the main, but he's the one who has the money. So yeah, that's for the right reasons, right? And then Memo says, I think it's an okay tradition as long as people are being reasonable, not to use it to make families rich, right? I talked about this. I would definitely milk this Lobola thing. I would become rich, I think. Probably. If maybe my daughter is marrying the right tribe or whatever tribe that would be there at the time that is willing to give me money. But then it's also quite weird that the Zimbabwe board of something, they have new statutes that have parameters for Lobola. So which means it's now regulated. There are certain prices that you can charge, which kind of makes it a commodity, because why would you regulate Lobola? Like, why would you regulate Lobola? Okay, anyways, that's not about that. Let me read the next thought. But this one was extracted from this other group that I'm in, because I asked the same question and it was quite interesting. The question was now diverting towards, is it enough? Because after that, there's a white wedding that's necessary. Apparently, our culture is not... I don't know. Maybe it's not good enough. That's why we have to go white weddings and wear veils when people are not virgins, because I believe veils are not for. Anyways, it says Lobola is enough, but you need to find a partner who understands that and also understands where you are in life, which is why you see a lot of people in their parents' wedding photos. And these days, people do a Lobola and go to court to tie the knot. It is about who you choose to date and also what kind of household they come from. Which also determines how these proceedings go. Okay, I like this. I like this thought because it says where they're coming from, right? So I've realized that people that are trying to enrich themselves are usually from maybe poor backgrounds or the high end of things. Like, we can let our daughter go for 3K. Like, oh, so you are selling your daughter, you just didn't know it yet. And of course, it says finding the right person, right? Because I realized in Lobola, your person has to tell the adults how strong your pocket is. So if they lie to them, you're in shit. I haven't cursed in a minute. You are in shit if your person doesn't tell the adults the truth, right? And then, of course, let me just go on with these inserts because they were really beautiful. And I did say I appreciate each and every one of you who participated and has been making Mind of a Boyfriend a thing. So maybe this is going to be the last thought for this podcast. And then I'll go about waffling and saying my own thoughts because mine are awesome. So he says the worst part nowadays, there's this frenzy of Lobola outfits, decorations, the food. Then it needs to be topped by a wedding at a fancy garden. In Zim, it really got worse. Well, we've been talking about this for this whole time. And I believe with Zim, it's not really their fault, right? As service deliverers, I'm putting myself in that bracket. We find ways to maximize the profits, but then profits only work for the gullible, right? So our system of tradition has become so gullible to a point where everything is about optics. We don't really care what happens after that. That's why a lot of women get abused when they get Lobola, because after that lavish wedding, after I hired the most expensive photographer, I got the best venue that takes about maybe 2 years to get booked, and then I flew in some photographer and maybe got deco from the marine or got it under the sea from Indian Ocean or something, right? It's a lot of money. So for you to then come back home and tell me you're not happy in that marriage, it doesn't equate, because I spend a lot of money. How am I supposed to pay back the Lobola? How am I supposed to appease these people after going so lavish for you, showing your parents, your exes and every other person that you are better than them, and then only for you to come back and tell me you're being abused? It doesn't really equate.
So when done right,